Good morning, YouTubes. How you doing? If any of you guys follow award shows, or just any news in general, then you may be aware of what happened at the BAFTAs this past week. For those who aren't though, a man named John Davidson, who has Tourette's, shouted a racial slur, the N-word, at a couple of actors, Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, both of whom are black. Now, that's a sufficiently awkward situation to be sure, but ultimately an understanding one given the situation. That situation being John attending the ceremony, as a movie that was based on his life was up for nomination. As anyone familiar with Tourette's will know, people who are afflicted with this disorder have involuntary vocalizations or movements known as tics.
Coprolalia in the modern day version, which basically means unintentional or involuntary, obscene, or socially inappropriate vocalizations.
The key word here is involuntary, something this lady doesn't seem to understand. This cancer diagnosis of a human being is known as Grace Randolph, and boy, does she have some fucking opinions. Yeah, I'll admit, I've never heard of her before this, but Jesus Christ, are her takes fucking stupid. Oh my god! So, she's heavily implying here that John is racist. Because to her, Dr. Randolph, apparently Tourette's just means no filter, but it still reflects his true beliefs. Lady, fuck off back to medical school and fire the board that approved your license. Cause you have no idea what Tourette's even is. Wait, you don't have a medical license, do you? So why speak on things you don't know anything about, Dr. Randolph? And perhaps you fucking suck at English too. Cause see, involuntary is defined as something that is done without will or conscious control. Note the last 5 words in that definition. Without will or conscious control. So no, Grace, he is not racist for saying it, because he literally has no control over the outbursts. If she took a little bit of time to let the realization of her words sink in, she'd probably retract her statement and maybe offer an apology out of her sheer ignorance. But she said, nah, fuck all that, I'ma double down on this bitch.
I can't believe you've done this.
Looks like Grace here thought John should have been more considerate of his tics, because clearly they could be offensive and offend somebody. Okay, Grace, what would you have preferred him do? Would you have liked everybody to just wear noise cancelling headphones on the off chance that he produces something like a racial slur? Is that what you'd want? But that's not very practical, is it? Wait. Here's a better idea, Grace. How about we sectioned him off into another area where no one can get offended by anything he says. Now that sounds like a great idea, except it also sounds like segregation and exclusion, and I'm sure that's something you're very much against, isn't it, Grace? Now, it seems like there's a fairly significant amount of backlash from these terrible fucking takes, along with the many instances of Tourette's, like the definition, being shown to her. But what does Grace do? She triples down and insists that he should have done more to prevent this. What would you do here, Grace? What would you do here? Because if you didn't want anyone to hear any language like that, maybe you should just tell him to stay home. You'd have to exclude him from the event because that's the only way nothing will happen. If this had actually been done and he'd been told to stay home because he might offend someone with his words, then that would fall under the exclusion thing that I said earlier. What really should have happened was the BAFTAs and the production company filming this should have let anybody know that was watching that something like this could occur, so nobody would be surprised, like jump scared with a racial slur. After the infamous N-word debacle, the host Alan Cummings did come up and explain to the audience and people watching exactly what it was, that the man has Tourette's, so he can't really help it. I feel like he explained it fairly clearly, but obviously not clearly enough for Grace, since she still said the dumb shit that she said. Grace, your takes are extremely uninformed, and your audience is rightly calling you out for it, because you clearly know nothing about Tourette's. And that's extremely hypocritical, coming from somebody whose whole ideology is about highlighting ignorance. Yet yours seems to be showing when you refuse to acknowledge an actual medical disorder because of your social views. What a fucking professional victim you are. I also have to highlight that you're neither black nor do you have Tourette's, so you really have no horse in this race, which makes this even more pathetic because you are feeling victimized on behalf of others. You know, Grace, the world doesn't need your opinions on social issues that do not affect or concern you, so do what your audience is telling you to do. Be better. That's all that's gonna be from me. Rose out.